Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be making a DIY Harry Potter wand stand. Now, currently I display my wands on my shelves, but back in October, I was looking on Instagram and I saw a ton of people showing this Olivander's sign that was available at Spirit Halloween. And at first I wasn't able to find it anywhere, but my husband, he was so sweet and he was able to track down one for me. So this sign here is what pretty much inspired this entire project. So let's go ahead and start and see how it turns out. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these hooks that come on the sign, because once I'm finished with the project, I'm not going to need these to hang up the stand on the wall. I think for that I'm going to use the double-sided like Velcro that I use for some of my other wall art, or if I do end up using these, they would have to be positioned in a different location, so they won't work here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take those out. So one of the first things you're going to need for this project is your wood. Now, I went yesterday to Home Depot and I picked up a piece of wood which was 2.5 inches by 6 feet long and about 1/2 inch wide. You want to make sure that your wood is wide enough so that whatever hooks you end up using on the project don't pass over to the other side and damage the look of the other side. But I went ahead and got this size, and I had my husband help me with cutting it down to how I wanted it. So we ended up going with 11 inches on the longer side here and doing 45-degree cuts on the bottom and the top sides. So I have two pieces like that. And then we ended up going with a 24-inch long side and also the 45-degree cuts here on the edges. Now we have a tool that helps us cut these, but you could either cut these by hand or you could just not do the 45-degree angle and just do your wood like this straight and just attach it to your final frame like this way if you don't have the tool to cut the 45-degree angle. But we had it, so we ended up figuring just using it. So I'm going to go ahead and use this right here. This is liquid nails. Now you can use wood glue if you want to as well, but I think this is a little bit stronger and dries a little bit faster, so I'm going to use this. But if you don't have it, you can use wood glue. And for this, I'm going to need to use this a caulk gun, I guess is what it's called. So let me go ahead and mount this on here so that I can get ready to start gluing these pieces together. Now I do have these clamps which I'm going to use to hold my pieces together for me while they dry. You don't have to have these. You definitely don't have to have all this stuff. I'm just using it because we have it, because we've used it for other projects that we've done. But if you don't have that, you can always use something else, like maybe a book or something. Anything that'll help you create some pressure on your piece. Now I'm gonna put enough, but not way too much where it's like spilling out of the edge, because I don't want to do that. And then here, let's see, I'm going to see if it's not too much.
Why am I always my own enemy? Stronger is something I wanna be.
Okay, so instead of using the liquid nails, I actually ended up using this glue instead. This is wood glue because the liquid nails was actually causing a little bit of like a gap in my corners. So I went ahead and I glued all the corners, as you can see, and I also glued this top part. But now what I'm doing, and this is the back part, now what I'm doing is with this product, which is like a spackle, I'm going ahead and I'm filling in the lines of where I glued things in, and like this top part, although you're not going to really see this top part. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I started doing it here. And here I have to sand down this glue here. But basically what I'm going to do, and you don't have to do this if you don't want to. This is just me being extra. I'm going to go ahead and put this around all these corners. And then once this is dry, I will go ahead and sand everything again so that everything is nice and smooth.
I'm not good at being nice to me. Always something else I wanna be. Every time it's different than before. I get torn from it. Ooh, I got knocked down again. Ooh, but I get back up from. Time turned out to be a thing that burned.
Okay, so it is super late, but this is what we've done so far. I have all my edges done. I went ahead and sanded the entire piece and wiped it down. Now I did sand it with a 120 grit sandpaper and then a 200 grit sandpaper with my orbital sander. I went ahead and did all the edges so that they're nice and soft. And I wiped the whole thing down to remove any excess dust. Now the next step is I'm going to go ahead and prime my wood with this pre-stain, and then I'll go ahead and stain it and seal it, put on the hooks and the sign, and it will be done. Now I will say, if you're interested in doing this project, you're probably better off doing it in 2 different days, just so that you can give yourself enough time for everything to dry. But in my case, I wanted to finish this video in 1 day, so that's why I've been doing this up until late at night. It's already nighttime outside, but I hope to finish it tonight so that you guys can see the finished product.
But pain is just a season, all the worst things always meant. My heart doesn't break even, no, I'm trying to learn to be okay with it. Cause if I can't love me in pieces, then it won't work when I'm fixed. I know I'm growing, maybe I'm just doing it slowly. I wanna turn all of my misery into something better. Nobody next to me, alone is where I find the best in me. I wanna learn from all the history, hold it all together. Ooh, I got knocked down again. Ooh, but I get back up from it. Time turned out to be a thing that burned me in the end. But pain is just a season, all the worst things always meant.
So it is the next day, and I thought I was going to be able to finish this project completely yesterday, but I figured that I was going to have to give it some time to dry once I installed the actual Olivander's sign. So this is what it's looking like right now. So I have the Olivander sign on it, and the clear coat is still a little bit tacky to the touch. It still needs some time to dry. I think it's because we're having some really cold weather here in Texas, and it's just making the process of drying be a little bit delayed. But for the most part, this is what it is looking like so far. Now today I just have to do the last part, which is installing the hooks. And for that, I picked up these at Home Depot. These are 1.5 inch to 1/8 inches hooks, like brass hooks, and this is kind of what they look like. And basically your wand is going to sit inside the hook. Now I would recommend you going for a size like this, because they do have some smaller ones. These were the biggest ones they had when I went to Home Depot, but I went with these because some of the wands tend to have a very thick handle, and you want to make sure you have enough space for your wand to actually rest in. So I'm going to go ahead and install these, and with that the project will basically be done.
No, I'm trying to learn to be okay with it. Cause if I can't love me in pieces, then it won't work.
Okay guys, so we are finally done, and this is what it looks like. I am so happy. It is exactly how I wanted it to look like. I have space for 12 wands. Now I did have to pre-drill the holes and then put in the hooks because the wood was really hard, but I love the way it turned out. It's so good. And now I have my wands right here so we can give it a test out. Let's see. There we go. It looks so good. Now, I measured pretty well, but I wasn't like too crazy about measuring. So hopefully they're straight enough. They're always going to look a little bit wonky because of the handles of the wands. Oh, but I love it so much. Now, I have the option to either put it on the wall using the hooks that I removed from the sign, or what I am going to do, I think, is going to buy some of those Velcro command strips, like the two-sided strips, and put it on my wall with that so I don't have to make any holes. And I'm just excited, y'all. Okay, so let me see how I'm gonna put this one. This one's a tricky one because this wand is pretty big on the base. There it is. Woohoo! Alrighty, guys. So this is what it looks like. Oh, I'm so happy. I love it so much. It is exactly how I wanted it to look. And then you can play around and put like some facing that way or some facing this way. But overall, I love the way it looks. I love it so much. It wasn't hard to do. It was actually a pretty entertaining little project for this weekend because it's been super cold here in Texas and we're not able to really go anywhere outside or anything. So this was pretty fun to do during this weekend. So let me know what you thought about this little DIY wand stand. If you do something similar, go ahead and tag me on Instagram. My Instagram is the same as my channel, Wands in Wonderland on Instagram. So if you do something like this, go ahead and tag me on Instagram. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I'm gonna go ahead and now get this room cleaned up, put this up on the wall, and go enjoy the rest of my weekend.